The union budget for 2026-27 is out. And for those of you gearing up for competitive exams like the UPSC or BPSC, you know this is a big deal. We're about to cut through all the noise and give you the high-impact breakdown that you absolutely need. So let's get right into it.
So this budget is being framed as a really crucial step on the road to what's called Viksit Bharat, the vision for a developed India by 2047. We're going to analyze that blueprint, breaking down what it actually means for the economy, for key sectors, and of course, for your exam prep.
Here's how we're going to tackle this. We're focusing on 4 key areas. First, we'll look at India's growth engines, specifically the super important MSME sector. Then, we'll get into the empowerment schemes for the nation's core pillars. After that, it's all about the massive infrastructure push, and we'll wrap up by decoding the fiscal framework and those key tax numbers you need to know. Right, let's get into our first major theme. What's fueling India's economic growth engines? A huge part of this budget is focused on the micro, small, and medium enterprises, or as we all know them, MSMEs. They're really seen as the backbone of the economy, and they're just crucial for creating jobs and driving exports.
And here is the headline figure for this whole section. A 10,000 crore rupee growth fund. This is a massive injection of capital, aimed squarely at energizing that MSME sector.
So, how is this money actually going to be used? Well, it's not just a simple cash giveaway. The strategy is to build an entire ecosystem of support. The focus is on nurturing new businesses by developing talent outside the big metros, in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, promoting startups, and giving that absolutely crucial seed funding to help those early-stage ideas get off the ground.
You know, economic growth isn't just about businesses. It has to be about people. And that brings us to the second major focus of the budget, empowering what are being called the 4 pillars of development. That's the youth, the poor, women, and farmers. This is where you really see the human-centric side of the economic plan.
A central theme here is women-led development. The budget is trying to move beyond just welfare and really frame women as key drivers of economic growth. And this involves a few different approaches, from boosting the economic power of self-help groups in rural areas to creating new paths in education.
The budget lays out some pretty tangible actions to back this vision up. We're seeing a real effort to get more women enrolled in STEM fields and technical colleges. At the same time, at the grassroots level, the plan is to strengthen self-help groups, basically transforming them from social units into real economic enterprises by linking them directly with bigger markets. Now let's turn to the farmers, often called the annadatas or the givers of food. The budget recognizes that even as industries grow, the agricultural sector is still the foundation for a huge part of our population. So the core idea here is to kickstart a tech revolution on the farm. A key part of this vision is a new initiative called Bharat Vikas. Think of it as a digital advisor in every farmer's pocket. It's an integrated agri-tech platform that gives vital info on what crops to select, modern farming techniques, and direct access to markets, all designed to boost both productivity and profitability. All right, let's switch gears to one of the biggest stories of this budget, the massive, and I mean massive, push for infrastructure. This is where you can see the long-term vision being laid, quite literally, in concrete and steel. And here's the number that really shows the scale of this ambition. The total public capital expenditure, or CapEx, which is just the money spent on creating long-term assets like roads and railways, is set at a staggering 12.2 lakh crore rupees. This kind of investment is designed to have a huge multiplier effect, driving economic activity and creating jobs across the country. So, where is all this money going? Well, first up, a huge chunk of nearly 2.92 lakh crore rupees is going directly to Indian railways. That signals a really clear push to modernize our national lifeline for both people and goods. And right alongside that, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is getting an even bigger budget of 3.09 lakh crore rupees. I mean, together, these two numbers paint a very clear picture of a major commitment to supercharging national connectivity. But these aren't just isolated piles of cash. They all fall under a single integrated strategy, the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. The whole idea is to break down the walls between departments like rail, roads, ports, and aviation to make sure all infrastructure development is synchronized for maximum efficiency. Of course, you can't have this kind of ambitious vision without some solid financial management. That brings us to the fiscal framework and the key numbers on government finances and taxes, all really critical data points for your exam notes. For the financial year 2026-27, the government is targeting a fiscal deficit of 4.3% of GDP. Now, this number represents the gap between the government's income and its spending, and it's a crucial indicator of financial discipline. It signals a commitment to getting public finances in order while still pouring money into growth.
On the tax side, there's a significant procedural update for taxpayers. The window for filing an updated or revised income tax return has been doubled. You now have 24 months from the end of the relevant assessment year, up from the old 12-month period. This is a key change aimed at giving people more flexibility and improving compliance.
So let's pull all these different threads together. What's the big picture this budget is painting? It's really all about setting the stage for the next couple of decades, connecting these short-term allocations to that long-term goal of Viksit Bharat.
So, to summarize the whole thing, the core strategy is to use high capital spending on infrastructure to really fuel growth. This is balanced with a deep focus on empowering key groups like the youth, women, and farmers. And this whole framework is operating under the goal of maintaining fiscal discipline. All of it contributing to that larger vision of a developed India by 2047.
And this brings us to the central question, really. This budget is performing a kind of high-wire act. It's pushing for super-fast growth through massive public spending, but at the same time, it's promising to be fiscally responsible. So as future policymakers and administrators, the key question you should be mulling over is this. Can this strategy successfully maintain that delicate balance on the long road to 2047? It's a challenge that's going to define the next chapter of India's economic story.
Please subscribe forwards and subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.